Loving her meant going to prison for a crime I didn't commit? Would walking away make me a coward or a survivor? I thought I was signing a marriage contract. I was wrong. I was signing my confession. My father used to say everyone deserves dignity in death. He died owing more than dignity costs. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead in the funeral home, harsh, clinical, exposing every crack in the walls and every failure I'd inherited. I moved through the empty preparation rooms with practiced movements, wiping down a casket that gleamed like a promise no one could keep. My hands arranged flowers mechanically while a bill slipped from my pocket, red stamp screaming, "Final Notice," across its face. My phone lit up with notifications cascading down the screen. Payment overdue. Final notice. Collections. Call us. Your account is restricted. I swiped them all away. They reappeared immediately. They say death is inevitable, so is debt. The door to the funeral home slammed open mid-service. A debt collector stood there, loud and shameless, while a grieving family turned to stare.
Mr. Han, we need to talk. Now. I'm in the middle of... I don't care. You're 3 months behind.
The family watched, every eye on me, every judgment unspoken but clear. Dignity dies fastest when witnesses are watching. Later, my phone vibrated. Then again. I ignored it until I couldn't anymore. My mother's voice came through, fragile and apologetic, and I closed my eyes against the weight of it.
Mom, don't... I'll figure it out. I always do.
I hung up, leaned against the wall. My jaw clenched so hard it hurt. I was drowning quietly, the way dignity demands. Poverty doesn't kill you all at once. It just makes you smaller, until you disappear. I caught my reflection in the polished surface of the casket, distorted, trapped, barely recognizable. The offer came on a Tuesday. Tuesdays are usually quiet. Golden hour light streamed through the funeral home's front windows when an envelope slid across my desk. Expensive paper. No return address. I traced the embossed seal with my fingers, opening it carefully, like it might explode. The paper rustled in the silence. My breathing stopped. Marriage agreement. Duration, 1 year. Compensation. My hands shook. The paper trembled in my grip. I read it 3 times to make sure I wasn't hallucinating. $500,000. Enough to bury the debt. Save the funeral home. Give my mother real care, not charity. I looked around the empty funeral home, the cracked walls, the ancient heater, the crushing weight of inheritance that had become my prison. 1 year of my life, for the rest of hers. The contract wasn't paper, it was digital. A tablet with a clean interface. Swipe to sign. Just like every app agreement I'd mindlessly accepted 1,000 times before. The transfer of liability clause was buried in a collapsed drop-down menu. Standard design. You had to choose to expand it, to dig deeper. 43 screens. I read them all. I still didn't see it, so I dialed the number. My hand reached for my phone, hesitated. Then I pressed the call button.
I'm calling about the contract.
I expected lawyers, contracts, cold negotiation. Instead, I sat alone in an upscale hotel lobby where everything was marble and silence, wearing my only good suit that didn't fit right, feeling like an imposter in a world I'd never belonged to. Then she entered. Yoon Hae-rin moved like someone who'd learned grace as a survival skill. Elegant black dress, hair pulled back severely. Her face revealed nothing as she sat across from me. No handshake, no smile. Just studying me like a problem she hadn't solved yet.
You read the terms.
I did.
This isn't romantic, you understand that?
I understand.
My eagerness to agree betraying my desperation. She nodded, almost relieved. But her fingers gripped her coffee cup too tightly, white knuckles against porcelain.
1 year. Separate lives. After that, you're free. We both are.
She said free, like someone who'd never been. I watched something flicker across her face. Vulnerability she swallowed fast, like taking medicine. Her eyes were hollow, beautiful and hollow. When she stood to leave, she said, The
lawyer will contact you. Sign everything exactly as written.
I watched her walk away, sitting alone surrounded by wealth I'd never belonged to. I should have asked why she needed me. I didn't. We were married on a Thursday. It took 17 minutes. City Hall. Fluorescent lights. No flowers. No guests. Just paperwork and the mechanical voice of an officiant who'd done this 1,000 times before.
Any legal impediments to this marriage?
Officiant asked. The silence lasted too long. I noticed Heron's hand trembling. She opened her mouth slightly, as if she might speak. "Heron?" I asked quietly, noticing her hesitation. She looked at me. Her mouth opened wider. Then, no impediments, she whispered, barely audible. I studied her face, sensing something wrong but too afraid to pursue it. I should have asked what she almost said. I didn't want to know. I signed my name. Heron signed hers. The officiant stamped the documents, final, permanent. The sound echoed like a door closing, sealing us both inside something neither of us fully understood. We stood side by side, strangers wearing rings. Someone's phone was out. Not filming, just present, always recording. "No photos, please," Heron said, her voice tight. The officiant pocketed their phone, annoyed at being denied their social media moment. Nothing's real until it's documented. Nothing's private unless you fight for it. "You may kiss the bride," the officiant said, bored. Heron's expression didn't change. I didn't move. "That's not necessary," I said quietly. The officiant shrugged and closed the book with a definitive thud. I told myself this was business. Clean, legal, safe. I stared at the marriage certificate, our names linked in black ink, binding us together in ways I was only beginning to understand. I was so stupid. I couldn't sleep that first week, so I read everything, every page, every clause. Night swallowed the funeral home office. A single desk lamp created an island of light in an ocean of shadows. I sat alone, reviewing additional documents the family lawyer, Kang Do-hyun, had sent over. My finger traced lines of legal text, then stopped, went back, read again, certain I was misunderstanding. Transfer of criminal liability, irrevocable assignment, sole legal responsibility. The blood drained from my face. My breathing quickened, shallow, panicked, my chest tightening like someone was sitting on it. There, buried on page 43, I stood abruptly, the chair scraped, papers scattered across the floor like evidence of my stupidity.
What the hell?
Believing what my eyes were telling me, I grabbed my phone, dialed, it rang and rang. Each ring felt like an eternity.
Mr. Han, it's late.
Hawk! The contract! Section 7. What does this mean?
Standard protection clause. Wealthy families require legal firewalls. It says if anything criminal surfaces, all liability transfers to me. Exclusively. Only if something surfaces, which it won't.
You're telling me I just signed away?
Mr. Han, one that's already paying your debts. I suggest you enjoy the benefits and stop looking for problems that don't exist.
Line went dead. I stood frozen, phone pressed to my ear, listening to silence that felt accusatory. That's when I understood. This wasn't a marriage, it was a trap, and I was already inside. I stared at the contract pages scattered across my desk, words that had seemed like salvation now revealing themselves as weapons pointed directly at me. For 3 months, I almost believed it was worth it. Life improved. Debt collectors disappeared like ghosts banished by daylight. My mother smiled for the first time in years. Hospital appointments came without the accompanying terror of unpayable bills. The funeral home breathed again. Its death rattle silenced by an infusion of blood money I was trying not to think about. And Hye-rin, unexpectedly, became real. We ate dinner together in comfortable silence. She passed me salt without asking, anticipating my needs before I voiced them. Small, domestic moments that felt revolutionary. She laughed once, sudden, unguarded, at something I said. Then caught herself, mortified, as if happiness was contraband she'd been caught smuggling. The wall went back up, brick by brick. She was supposed to be a transaction. She wasn't. Late one night, I found her asleep on the couch, a book open on her chest. I covered her with a blanket, my hand lingering near her shoulder but not quite touching, afraid of breaking whatever fragile thing was growing between us. I was falling, and falling meant losing everything. But beneath the domestic peace, danger pulsed like a second heartbeat. Hye-rin laughed at dinner while Do-hyun filed documents labeled contingency. My mother hugged me, healthy and grateful, while news reports warned of investigations into Seo Industries. Hye-rin's hand found mine on the couch while Chairman Seo asked someone on the phone, "How secure is the arrangement?" For 3 months, I forgot I was living on borrowed time. The clock was always ticking. I just couldn't hear it yet. Then came the night that changed everything. Rain hammered the windows. I was at the funeral home, working late, when my phone buzzed. Hiren's name appeared with a text message. "Are you coming home?" I stared at the word home. My chest tightened with something between hope and terror. I drove through the storm, arriving at our apartment soaked. She was standing by the window in my old sweater, hair loose, looking more real and vulnerable than I'd ever seen her. The domestic intimacy was suffocating in its tenderness. I made tea. "It's probably cold now," she said softly, not looking at me. I didn't move, just watched her. She turned, saw something in my face that made her uncertain. "What?" she asked. "Why did you text me?" My voice came out raw, stripped of pretense. I don't know. You could have been free. You could have told me the truth from the beginning. You could have... "I know," she said, stepping closer, her eyes filling with tears she was trying to hold back. The space between us was electric, dangerous, charged with everything we'd been avoiding. Rain pounded against the windows. Thunder rumbled in the distance, like a warning we were about to ignore. "I should hate you," I said, breaking. "I know," she whispered. Neither of us moved. The moment stretched, taut as a wire about to snap. Then she closed the distance, kissing me desperately, like a drowning person gasping for air. I froze, then responded, my hands tangling in her hair, pulling her closer. It wasn't gentle. It was grief and rage and need, colliding with the force of months of denial. We stumbled backward. My hands framed her face, worshiping and accusing in the same touch. She pulled at my wet shirt with shaking fingers. We were both crying, kissing through tears that tasted like salt and regret. Clothes hit the floor, my jacket, her sweater, layers of protection stripped away. Skin against skin, no words, just breathing, gasping, the sound of two people trying to merge into one person so neither would have to face reality alone. Hands everywhere, memorizing, claiming, trying to hold on to something we both knew was temporary. Our eyes locked, vulnerable, terrified. My forehead pressed against hers. Her fingers dug into my shoulders like she was afraid I'd vanish if she loosened her grip. "Don't leave me," she whispered, barely audible over the storm. "I can't," I admitted, wrecked and honest. We collapsed together, limbs entangled, hearts racing in synchronization. Silence except for rain and our ragged breathing. Later, as dawn light crept in like an intruder, we lay wrapped around each other on the floor. I traced patterns on her bare shoulder while she slept, her face peaceful for once, the worry lines smoothed away by exhaustion. That's when I knew I was lost. Not when I signed the contract. Not when I found the clause. When I realized I'd rather burn with her than survive without her. Outside, the storm cleared. Inside, I was drowning willingly. Love isn't supposed to feel like drowning, but here I was, sinking willingly. Thunder rumbled one last time as I pulled her closer and closed my eyes against the inevitable. Morning light came too bright, too accusatory. In the kitchen, I noticed Hiren staring at legal documents on the counter, her expression twisted with guilt and fear, and something breaking apart behind her carefully constructed facade. She didn't see me watching. "Hiren," I said carefully, my voice cutting through the tension like a blade. She flinched. Actually flinched. She closed the folder fast, her movements jerky and panicked. "It's nothing," she lied. "You're lying." Silence fell between us, heavy, dangerous, the kind of silence that precedes confessions or catastrophes. I walked closer. She backed against the counter, trapped like an animal with nowhere to run. "The contract, the clause, did you know?" I asked, my voice low and controlled, though everything inside me was screaming. Her eyes filled with tears. She bit her lip, then nodded once, barely a movement, but enough to destroy me. I didn't know everything, I swear," she said, breaking apart in front of me. "But you knew enough." She crumpled, slid down the cabinet until she sat on the floor, knees pulled to her chest like a child seeking protection from monsters that were already inside the house. "I didn't have a choice," she sobbed. "My father, he controls everything. This was the only way out. I thought maybe it wouldn't matter. Maybe nothing would happen." I stood over her, fists clenched, jaw so tight I thought my teeth might crack. A war raged inside me between love and self-preservation, and I was losing on both fronts. "You let me sign my life away," I said, quiet and devastated. "I'm sorry. I didn't know you'd." That I'd what? Fall in love with you? She looked up, tears streaming down her face. I was crying too, silent, furious tears that felt like admissions of defeat. I should have left. Right then, I should have walked away. Instead, I slid down beside her. We sat on the kitchen floor together like two shipwreck survivors clinging to the same piece of wreckage. Not touching, both breaking. I can't lose you, I whispered, even though staying might destroy me. She took my hand. I let her. That was my choice. Love over survival. I'd regret it soon. 3 weeks later, everything accelerated. News broadcasts showed Chairman So Min-jae's conglomerate under scrutiny. Financial investigations, federal probes, the empire was crumbling, and I was standing at its foundation, bearing all the weight. In his office, Do-hyun shredded documents, sweat beading on his forehead despite the air conditioning. Phone pressed to his ear, he said tensely, "I'm taking precautions. You should too." Meanwhile, Chairman So sat in shadow, cold, calculating, a silver-haired predator who'd survived by being more ruthless than his enemies. "The boy? Can he be controlled?" he asked. "He signed everything. Legally, he's already responsible." Good. Prepare the final amendment. At the funeral home, my own past surfaced like a corpse I'd thought I'd buried deep enough. The old falsified document from years ago. Small. Forgotten. Now, evidence I was already corrupt. Validation of everything they'd say about me. My own secret. Small. Forgotten. Now, evidence I was already corrupt. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered with shaking hands. "Mr. Han, the chairman requests your presence," a cold voice informed me, making it clear this wasn't a request at all. My hand shook as I hung up. I walked into that room knowing I wouldn't walk out the same. The penthouse office had floor-to-ceiling windows. The city spread below like a chessboard where I was nothing but a pawn about to be sacrificed. Chairman So stood with his back turned, surveying his kingdom. "You're a practical man, Mr. Han. You understand sacrifice," he said without turning, his voice smooth as aged whiskey and just as toxic. "What do you want?" I asked, though I already knew. Some part of me had always known. He turned. His smile was surgical, precise, controlled, designed to cut without seeming cruel. "The investigation will conclude soon. Evidence will surface. Someone must be responsible." He slid a document across the desk with a gold pen placed beside it like a weapon disguised as a gift. "Sign this. Accept full criminal liability. In exchange, your mother receives lifetime medical care. Premium facilities. The funeral home is yours. Debt-free. And Herin." He paused, letting the silence do its work. "Goes free." I stared at the paper. My vision blurred. The words swam. "Prison," I said, my voice breaking. "You're asking me to go to prison for crimes I didn't commit. I'm offering you the chance to protect everyone you love. Isn't that what you've always done? Sacrifice?" Tears I wouldn't let fall burned behind my eyes. My hands trembled. He was right. I'd spent my whole life sacrificing. I thought it made me good. Noble. In my mind, I saw my father's funeral. Myself younger, holding my mother as she wept, promising I'd take care of everything, take care of her, bear whatever weight she couldn't carry. But love that demands your destruction isn't love. It's just another kind of death. Something hardened inside me, something that had been soft and willing to break finally calcified into something stronger. I looked up. "No," I said steadily. "Excuse me?" "No. I won't sign it," I said louder, my voice gaining strength with each word. His expression darkened, storm clouds gathering. "You'll lose everything." "I've already lost everything that mattered. The only thing left is the truth." I stood, turned to leave. Each step felt like rebellion, like revolution, like the first honest thing I'd done in months. "You'll regret this," he said, cold and final, the voice of a man used to having the last word. I stopped at the door, looked back. Maybe, but I'll regret it free. I walked out. The door closed behind me with a sound like finality. I could have stayed silent, disappeared, let the powerful bury everything. Instead, I stood at a podium, flash photography exploding around me like small supernovas. I looked terrified because I was. But I spoke anyway. "My name is Han Jun-seo. 6 months ago, I signed a contract I didn't fully understand. This contract was designed to transfer criminal liability from the So family to me." Cameras exploded with more light. Reporters shouted questions I couldn't hear over the roaring in my ears. Across the city, TV screens carried my face, my words, my truth spreading like wildfire. Chairman Seo watched from his office, his face impassive. Then, a flicker. Fear. The first real emotion I'd ever seen from him. Do-hyun stood in an airport with his passport in hand. He stopped when he saw the broadcast. Turned around slowly, realizing his escape route had just closed. Haerin watched from our apartment, tears streaming down her face. She covered her mouth as if trying to hold back a scream or a confession. I exposed everything. The contract, the clause, the crime, my own past mistake. I'm not innocent, I said into the microphone, my voice shaking but clear. Years ago, I falsified a document to help a family afford a burial. That was wrong. I'll face those consequences. But I won't be anyone's scapegoat. Silence fell over the room. Then, applause. Scattered at first, tentative, then growing into something that sounded like solidarity, like hope. But I wasn't naive. I didn't just hold a press conference. I uploaded everything, contracts, recordings, documents, to a public server, making them impossible to contain. Screens everywhere showed the files spreading, being reposted, screenshotted, shared faster than any legal team could suppress them. Chairman Seo watched, his expression cold. You've made a mistake. Information isn't power. Controlling information is. His team was already seeding counter-narratives online. He's lying. He's unstable. He was fired for theft. I thought truth would set me free. I forgot. Truth is just another story. And better storytellers always win. The truth didn't save everyone, but it freed them. News montages showed Chairman Seo arrested, Do-hyun testifying to save himself, the empire crumbling like a sandcastle hit by waves. Haerin signed away her inheritance. She looked lighter somehow, scared but alive in a way she'd never been when wrapped in her father's wealth. I stood in court receiving my sentence. Community service, restitution. Not prison for crimes I didn't commit, but accountability for the small one I did. 6 months passed like a held breath finally released. I returned to the funeral home, arranged flowers. The movements were the same, but I was different, older somehow, quieter. The kind of quiet that comes from surviving something that should have killed you. The door chimed. I looked up. Haerin stood in the doorway wearing simpler clothes, her hair down, looking more real than she'd ever looked in designer dresses and perfect makeup. Hi, she said softly. Hi. We let the silence sit between us without rushing to fill it with explanations or apologies. I'm working now, at a non-profit, legal aid, she said. I gave her a small smile. That fits. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I know. She stepped closer. I didn't move away. Can we start over? Honestly, this time, I looked at her. Really looked. Saw someone as broken and trying as I was. Someone who'd chosen truth over comfort, even when it cost her everything she'd known. No promises, I said. No promises, she agreed, smiling through tears. We sat together on the funeral home steps, not touching, just present, just honest. Walking away didn't make me a coward. Staying silent would have. Love isn't sacrifice. It's choosing truth, even when truth costs everything. The sun set behind us. The funeral home sign showed my father's name with mine beneath it now. A legacy redeemed, a burden transformed into something I could carry with dignity. Some contracts can be broken. The ones worth keeping are written in something stronger than ink. But the story doesn't end there. It couldn't. Truth has consequences that ripple outward long after you think you've told it all.